Hello and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I'm Janie King, host of the show today. And today's July 3rd, 2014, the day before the 4th of July. Yoo-hoo! Today we're gonna start celebrating. I know, and I live up in the Sunapee region, and they've already started fireworks all around the lake because I can hear Lake Sunapee and all the fireworks and all the stuff going on from where I live. So thank you for joining me today, and thank you to ManchesterTV.org for this lovely space. And today, Brendan is our technical director. Thank you, Brendan, for all the setup work. And my guest today is Matt Connarton. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous. I've never done this before.
Let's gong on that
work.
Yeah, how's that work? Gong on that nervousness. Poor Matt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Paralyzed with fear.
Oh my gosh, I know. And you have a show of your own here on ManchesterTV.org, and why don't you tell us a little about that if you want?
Sure. Matt Connarton Unleashed. It is
Unleashed.
Wednesdays at 2 p.m. And that is it's a political show. The reason it's called Unleashed is because I just say whatever I think, whatever I feel politically or about social issues or whatnot, with zero regard for any consequence.
Well, you're putting yourself on the line there, huh?
Yes. Very often, at some point during the show, I'll be actually yelling into the microphone.
Really?
Yes, it's a very different side of me because
I guess I don't think I've seen that side of you.
Yeah. A lot of people who know me personally get a kick out of it because I'm very. I'm sort of a soft-spoken guy. I'm pretty laid back and easygoing,
right.
and pretty easy to get along with and whatnot. So when people see that other side of me, people who know me personally, when they see that other side of me, they're like, "Wow, I didn't know you had that in you."
Well, it's amazing what the camera can do for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I found that myself. I'm pretty much a shy introvert most of the time. All my life, and then I get here in front of the camera, and I can go crazy and not know why. So maybe you have some of that in you as well.
But you don't yell into the microphone.
Oh no, I can't say that I do. No. Why do you yell?
I get very worked up and very passionate and very just
about the political issues.
Yeah, and I think some of that too is like I grew up watching. I'm a big fan of Chris Matthews on MSNBC, and I realized that. Well, people have pointed this out, but I kind of already realized it too, that some of it kind of, I think I'm influenced by him a little bit as far as how I present myself on the political shows because because I don't know if you've ever seen him, but he's been satirized on SNL because he kind of yells sometimes when he's talking into the mic, not even out of anger, but it's just kind of his natural delivery.
Passion.
So I think I picked up some of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. So you kind of watch these people that you not idolize, but you follow, and you get to do that on your own show.
Yeah, I think I'm influenced by a lot of political commentators that I've seen on television over the years, and also too, I do radio as well, and I think. Right. I've been told I've got a little shock jock in me, and Norm and I, because you've been on Norm and Friends many times.
Right.
Sometimes we, with our humor, we get a little politically incorrect, and I know some of that comes from my. I'm definitely influenced by people like Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony, and kind of grew up listening to those guys on the radio. So that side of my personality comes out too, and sometimes people are surprised by that too because they don't expect me to say things that. Are potentially offensive to someone, or but
you're a nice guy.
I am. I'm a very
really nice guy.
I'm a very nice guy.
So when you come up with this kind of stuff, it's floors people. Like that's not Matt,
right?
But I guess it is Matt,
right? Yeah, they're just it's. I think part of why I enjoy doing those kinds of things is because it gives me an opportunity to outwardly express different sides of my personality, because human beings, we're all complex. We all have different sides to us. Some of us are more complex than others, but we all have these different sides of us. And I think part of what causes angst in people is not being able to feeling like people feeling like they can't adequately express the different aspects of their personality. People feeling like, they have to be who the world expects them to be and who they present to their friends and family and coworkers, etc. But they have these other sides to them that they're afraid to express, or they don't have a way to express them that they wish that they could. I think that's why a lot of people are driven to do things creatively, like musicians and authors and take anything really, where because people need different avenues to express themselves, and I think some people have a hard time when they don't find ways to express these very sometimes almost self-contradictory in a way, different sides of a personality that people have. But we are complex, and most of us have a lot going on inside.
That's true. That's very well put.
Thank you.
I think that, that's very well spoken. I think you're right on there. As far as I'm concerned with my own life, I can see that I've been held back a lot with my shyness, and really, there's an inside of me that's not shy, that wants to be seen.
Has this helped you a lot doing this TV show?
Absolutely, this TV show, and I think also getting to be a certain age, over 60, or some people say over 50, but when I hit over 60, I just went out on a limb a lot more. Plus, my parents both have passed away, so there's a freedom. Even though that's sad, there's a freedom in not having to be who they think I am, which is what you're talking about.
Right.
The people in your life that you're always with, your family especially, they have expectations of you.
Oh, yeah.
And you do live up to those, even though you don't want to.
And so much of that, though, I think, is self-imposed, much more than we tend to realize. I think a lot of us who feel that way, that our family has certain expectations of who they want us to be and whatnot, I wonder, and it's different for everybody, but I wonder how much of that is legit. Like, how much of that is, yes, your parents really do expect this of you, and how much of that is you thinking that they do, but you're, and overthinking it and thinking they expect more of you than they actually do, and then kind of self-imposing this stuff.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Matt, because when I look back at my life, I was thinking about when I met my husband specifically, that because I was alone, I hadn't had a partner all my life pretty much till I was in my 40s, and in the back of my mind, it was interesting, was my father's going to be happy now I'm with somebody. He doesn't have to worry about me, that I'm alone, and that was in the back of my mind. But was that true for him? I don't think so. But for me, there was a piece of that, not really subconscious, but at a lower level of consciousness that I didn't really want to admit until later on.
Yeah.
So that's right on. That's amazing how we as human beings do. We put things in our own brain.
Yeah, and it's bad for us. It's bad for us mentally, emotionally, physically, when you don't be who you are supposed to be, who you're destined to be. Not supposed to be according to someone else, but supposed to be according to yourself, what you want to be, who you want to be.
True. That's so true.
We damage ourselves by choosing to try to live up to someone else's expectations instead of our own. I really believe that we poison ourselves doing that.
Yeah, I think you're right on there, and that's what a lot of people that come to me in my healing work, and probably you in your hypnosis, they're looking to find themselves because we're so plastered with everybody else's concept, society and school and religion and family. We're so plastered with, well, everybody thinks I'm supposed to be this way, when then we never get in touch with, well, who am I and why am I here?
Right.
Those proverbial questions.
Exactly. Were you nervous when you started doing this show?
I can't say that I was.
Yeah.
My friend Dawn was here kind of supporting me, and I think she thought I was nervous, and maybe I was the first live show. The first live show, I think I might have had a little bit of nerves. But as I got into it, it just became more fun.
Yeah, you seem really comfortable with it.
Yeah, I'm really loving it.
I still get a little anxious before, not really before Norman Friends or Rock Paper Hand Grenades, the other shows that I do on Wednesday, because I'm in the passenger seat for those shows. I'm not driving.
You're not driving it.
But for Unleashed, I still get not so much nervous, but I get a little anxious, but it's in a good kind of way. It's like
So what do you think that's about?
It's kind of an excitement. It's kind of it's enjoying the danger of it.
The intrigue.
Knowing that I'm potentially going to make someone infuriated with me. And
so, do you have a subject that you walk in each show with?
I usually have on Unleashed. I usually have a few different political things that I want to dive into, but I never get to all of them because I get to ranting and the time goes so quick.
You get to ranting.
Oh, yes.
I can't see you ranting.
Oh, really? Oh, you should check out the show.
Your show
Wow, yeah.
And that's so much fun because you're releasing all that pent-up stuff.
Oh, yeah.
all that energy, and nobody's getting hurt. You're expressing your truth.
It's great therapy for me. It really is.
Right, you don't need to go sit in front of somebody for an hour a week and
No,
pay money.
no.
You just come here
Not
and talk.
that I've never done that. I went to years ago, I went to a psychiatrist twice, never went back. Lying on a couch for an hour and talking about my mother wasn't helpful to me, so I didn't go back for any of that.
Didn't go back for that. Well, for me, it was very helpful, but I'm a woman, so maybe it's different. And I was always shy and afraid to talk, so it gave me an opportunity to talk in a meaningful way.
I was just clinically depressed. Actually, that's how I got into hypnosis. I learned how to do self-hypnosis to resolve those issues.
I see.
But at the same time that I was learning about hypnosis and meditation, I'd gotten so desperate with my depression that at the same time that was happening, I'd also started going to see a psychiatrist. And then I quickly realized that for me, and I'm not knocking psychiatry. Some people need it. For some people, it's very helpful. My dad's a clinical social worker, so I don't want, sometimes people hear me say these things and they get the wrong idea, like I'm putting down psychiatry or anything. I'm not. It just wasn't for me.
Right.
Because my experience literally was that classic cliche of lying on a couch and talking about my mother. In my particular case, it really was that. So, but I knew that I wasn't depressed because of some sort of childhood trauma or anything going on in my life. I mean, honestly, on balance, I've had a pretty normal, relatively trauma-free existence. I've had a good life so far.
That's great. Well, gong on that.
Yes, thank you.
Good life. We gong to good things.
So I knew that my depression was just, a chemical imbalance in the brain or whatever it was, whatever causes. Some people are depressed literally just for the hell of it. You don't have to have a reason. It's just something, something's not quite right. You need some sort of medication or something, But I was able to learn how to resolve this using some NLP techniques. So I didn't have to go back to the psychiatrist.
And what are NLP techniques?
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
Uses a lot of visualization. I actually learned about it through, I started hanging out at in the self-help section at a bookstore and looking at these different books. Because again, I was getting desperate. I needed to do something. I had this was back when I was in my mid-20s. I realize now, looking back, that I think my depression had started when I was a teenager, which I think is when it starts for most people who suffer from really debilitating depression. And it kept getting worse. And I used to describe it as it was like falling into a black hole that I would then have to climb my way out of. But it was becoming increasingly difficult to climb out of these black holes. And it had gotten to the point, and I'd always resisted going to get professional help for it because I hated the idea of going on some sort of medication.
Oh, okay.
And lying on a couch for an hour.
I was going to say lying on a couch. Yeah, medication and both of them.
But
Plus, since your father was a social worker, you probably kind of had something going on around that.
Well, I don't know. To this day, I've never discussed this with him,
Oh.
which is strange because I talk to him about everything and we have a great relationship. But to this day, I've never told him that I ever struggled with depression.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I have some sort of block there where I don't want to discuss it with him. But if he sees this, he'll know, which is fine, whatever. So
what do you think triggered the depression?
Well, see, that's the thing. Nothing triggered it.
I see. So all of a sudden you just went into this deep hole.
Yeah. Have you ever?
Oh yeah, I've been pretty much depressed and angry all my life.
Oh, so you know how it is.
It's been recently, yeah. I know how it is.
Angry too. See, you need a show like Unleashed. You should do Jane King Unleashed.
Yeah, I should.
It would help you.
It would help me. Yeah. Well, this is good enough. I'd rather do goofy, funny things than letting people see my anger is not something I want to do.
Yeah, but under the right circumstances, in a constructive way, it can be quite liberating.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, towards politicians, we all hate politicians.
Exactly.
We're all angry about the state of the country.
Yes, but so I started looking at these books, and Tony Robbins, the motivational guru there. One of his books he was discussing. He has his own version of it, which is one of my...
Of NLP, you mean?
Yeah, which is one of the few constructive criticisms I have of him. He calls it NSC, and I forget what it even stands for. But it's really just NLP.
Constructive psychotherapy.
So something like that. But that's where I first learned about NLP, and then I started researching Richard Bandler is one of the guys, and wow, I'm blanking on the other guy's name. It'll come to me. John Grinder. John Grinder and Richard Bandler. They're the guys who really developed NLP back in the 50s.
Oh, wow. That old.
Oh, yeah.
That long ago.
That long ago, yeah. And it uses, it's a type of hypnosis and meditation that uses a lot of visualization. And what I learned to do, this is how I beat my depression, what I learned to do using NLP techniques is I would visualize my depression as not an emotion or a feeling or a part of me. I would imagine it as an object that was inside of me that I could use my mind to kind of push out of me.
Huh.
And I would do this visualization. This is going to sound really, really silly, but this is what I would do. So I just kind of imagined, okay, so what would depression look like? If depression were an object, what would it look like? And without thinking about it too hard, I just kind of let my imagination pick. I decided, it looks like the Death Star from Star Wars. So I then would imagine I would push this Death Star of depression out in front of me. And then, again, it sounds silly, but I would imagine laser beams shooting out of my eyes into this ball of depression.
Wow.
And then I would watch it explode in front of me.
Wow.
I would do that. I'd switch it up too. I'd throw in some others, like I would imagine smashing it with a baseball bat or hitting it with a bat, and instead of it smashing, it just would fly so far off into the distance that I would have no idea where it landed, so I couldn't go get it back even if I wanted to. But my favorite one was the laser beams and watching it explode. And I would do that for about 20 to 30 minutes a day, every day.
You do like first thing in the morning, or
no, just
usually
in the afternoon. Not that it mattered what time of day, really, but
just thinking about people that are listening, that this might be a good tool for people.
I recommend it. Yeah, it got to a point where after a couple of weeks, I couldn't get depressed if I wanted to.
Really?
I learned how to destroy it.
So you pretty much destroyed your depression through NLP, through this technique of visualizing.
Yes.
That's great, Matt.
Yeah.
That's a great tool.
There were other things too. I started exercising more. Exercise, I mean, it's clinically proven that is more helpful in terms of depression than any medication that's out there. Where we live in a country that would rather take a pill than work out. In a lot of instances, the pharmaceutical industry. Well, I don't want to get.
Don't want to get too political in that for me, because we could
I'll
go
start
with
yelling.
the show about
I'll start coming unleashed, but it's the wrong show
well,
for that.
You can come
but.
unleashed. You can do that here.
I don't want to frighten you, Jay, but I'll pick this up and start gonging.
Oh no, I don't want to gong my gong hardly. Right.
But
the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I started exercising more too. But the main thing was that visualization. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what drove me to learning about NLP. I wanted to learn all kinds of different hypnosis techniques, so I started reading and learning all I could. Once my friends found out that I was doing this, they would ask me to hypnotize them.
Fun.
Turned out I was good at it. So then people started saying, you're good at this. You seem to have this is a skill that you have. Maybe you should do it professionally. I thought, well, maybe I should. So then I did. I went to Southern New Hampshire University. At that time, they were offering a course administered through the National Guild of Hypnotists.
Really? Wow.
So I went and did that and got my certification, and I've been doing hypnosis ever since.
Wow. That's great. That's great. And you seem pretty happy, other than Unleashed.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like ever since I did that, every day is rainbows and roses. I still have my down days like anybody, especially in the winter. I don't like the long days and the cold and whatnot. But that kind of just debilitating depression, that I will never... I won't permit that to find its way back into me. I mean, that was brutal. I'm never going back to that.
Yeah. Wow, that's so great. And do you help people out there that are looking for help? Do you teach other people this in your hypnosis practice, or do you work with people out there with hypnosis to help them with depression? Yeah.
In fact, I do these 2-hour workshops. I've done a couple recently at the Healing Tree.
Okay.
In Londonderry,
right?
Where I'll do a group hypnosis session with everyone, and then I'll go through and explain a lot of these different techniques, NLP techniques, other techniques of meditation and whatnot, so that people can learn to help themselves. And really, I always say, all hypnosis really is self-hypnosis, because if I hypnotize you, I'm guiding you through the process. You're doing everything in your own mind. I'm just guiding you through it. So I teach people to kind of hypnotize themselves. And I do also, too, in one-on-one private sessions with people, I explain some of these techniques as well. Whatever I think will be helpful to the person, usually during the pre-talk before the actual session, where I take them into hypnosis and do the session. But
now, lots of people are afraid of hypnosis because they think you're doing something to them. And as you just said, we, as your client, are doing it ourselves.
Exactly. The client's in control the entire time. I always tell people, I don't put you into a trance and turn you into a zombie and make you do humiliating things for my amusement that you won't remember, and
So you kind of have to want to be amusing or be up on the stage. For the stage hypnosis, you have to want to be performing in order to allow that hypnosis to work.
Oh, absolutely. That's actually how I am also a trained stage hypnotist.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Oh, wow. We can have you hire you for our parties.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I do parties. But the way, sometimes people will ask me, so what's the secret to stage hypnosis?
Right.
And the reality is, there is no secret. It's just that if I'm on stage and I'm asking for volunteers in the audience, I'm going to pick the people to come up who are like jumping out of their seats. Oh, pick me, because those people, they want to be hypnotized. They want to participate. So I know that they're going to be so easily suggestible. I'm going to have no problem putting them into a state of hypnosis when they get on stage. But you're right. I can't hypnotize someone against their will. They have to be willing to let me do it. So I'm not going to be a hero and try to pick the person who's sitting there like this. Oh, I can't be hypnotized. I'm just here to see how stupid this is. I'm not going to pick that person because they're not going to let me hypnotize them. But the people who want to be up there, I'm going to have no problem hypnotizing them because they want to participate. So it's going to be very easy for me to get them into a state of hypnosis. But yeah, you have to be willing to let me do it. The person has to be able to feel safe and able to relax. And
Wow, that's great to know. And the question I was going to ask just went out the window. So hypnosis is...
There's no windows in here, Jane.
Oh, they're out the door then.
There's
a closed window. Must be a crack somewhere.
I wish there were windows in here. It is warm in here.
I know. It gets pretty hot with all these lights. Hypnosis. Oh, there's levels of are there levels of hypnosis of how deep someone can go, and can we practice to go deeper and deeper and deeper into a state of like a trance state?
What I do is I will during the session, I'll just say things like, I keep that part of it really simple. I'll say things like, you're going to drift into the very deepest level of hypnosis possible, and I keep it kind of general. And then once I feel that they're there, then I'll say something like, and now you're going to go even deeper. And I'll just to try to get them as deeply into a state of hypnosis as possible. Some hypnotists will do something where they'll actually ask the client, now tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how deeply relaxed are you right now? I don't do that. I can tell, if they're if they're in a state of hypnosis and if they're deeply relaxed. I don't want to distract them from that by making them think about assigning a number to how deeply relaxed they are. I know too. Some hypnotists will talk about there's a theta state and a beta state or whatever, and I've never paid any attention to that part of it. Everyone's technique is a little different, but yeah, I just say, we're gonna take you as deep as you can possibly go, more deeply relaxed than perhaps you've ever felt. And I kind of, I do go kind of over the top with the hyperbole of it, saying things like, you're gonna be more relaxed than you've ever been in your life. But that's just to be able to get them to really, hopefully
really go as deep as they can.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they're coming to you, they need to want to be doing it anyway.
Exactly. That's why I pay a lot of attention to the language people use when I talk to the prospective clients, because, for example, if I'm talking to someone who wants to quit smoking, because that's what I do by far the most of is stop smoking sessions by far. I helped Norm to quit smoking. It's been about a year now.
That's right. He was saying last time I saw him, he's so excited.
Yeah.
It's been a year.
Yeah. But I pay close attention to the language people use, because if people say, see, they have to want to do it. They have to want to be hypnotized, and they have to want to quit smoking, because if when I talk to them, if they're kind of half-hearted about it, like, well, I tried the patch, that doesn't work. I figure maybe I'll try this. This probably won't work either, but I'll give it a try. My wife or my kids or whoever, they really want me to quit, so I figured I'll try it. I have to tell them, absolutely not. This will not work for you, because this will only work for you if you want this to work for you. But you have to be committed to wanting this to work.
Right.
If you want this to work, it will. But
you have someone's forth, like if your wife wants you to quit, or your kids don't like the smell, or whatever's going on in your family, and you haven't totally owned that you don't want that to happen anymore, then it's not going to work for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And people that have been smoking all their lives, I mean, you can change, you stop them like that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
one session.
Typically one session. There is kind of that's how I was trained. Cindy Kyle Thomas, who I lost touch with her, but as far as I know, she's still in the area. She's the one who trained me.
I see.
And she was very firm on, you can do this in one session. You can help someone quit smoking in one session. There is a school of thought. There are, I don't know if the old guard is the right way of putting it, but I think it's an outdated concept. There are hypnotherapists who will try to sell you on a package, so to speak, where they'll say, okay, well, if you want to quit smoking, you need to see me for 5 sessions, and then they'll give you a price for however much the package is, and by the time you get to the end of that 5th session, you'll no longer be a smoker. And I'm not, let me just be clear, I don't want to be misunderstood. I'm not saying that hypnotists who approach it that way, I'm not saying they're frauds or they're trying to rip people off or be deceptive in any way. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe some of them are, I don't know. But I'm sure that most of them probably genuinely believe that that's how it needs to work. But it's kind of an old school way of looking at it. And I think part of it is just the way, what we know about the subconscious mind now and how it works. We now know that change really can happen very rapidly.
So that's what you're doing, is you're accessing the subconscious when you hypnotize someone, or you to do whatever, to stop smoking or lose weight or whatever.
Exactly. And what I communicate to the person when they're in a state of hypnosis is I'll say things like, this happens now. This changes now. You are a non-smoker now. This is not someday. This is not something you're going to get around to when you get around to it. This is not some future aspiration. This happens now, and it happens now because you have decided it happens now, and there's no going back, and it's not negotiable because you have decided this is how it's going to be. You have empowered yourself, and I use that word a lot, empowered, empowerment, self-empowerment. I use that kind of language a lot. These are things I'm saying when they're actually in a state of hypnosis.
Right, when they're down as deep as they can go.
Exactly, to really get their subconscious mind internalizing that this is immediate, this is now, this is not eventually, this is not after 5 sessions. This is, we're doing
There's
this now.
no reason it can't happen right now.
Exactly. Change,
this is what you want.
Like Tony Robbins says, change really can happen in an instant. It starts with deciding.
Right.
Everything we do, it all starts with a decision.
It's true. Deciding, making a choice.
Yeah.
We can choose differently moment to moment.
Exactly.
Let's gong on that. We can choose. Make a choice.
Exactly.
So let's talk about IPM if you want for a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to.
Because I did go on your website and check it out. It's a really amazing website.
Thank you.
Got a lot going on there.
Thank you. And we have this show on there actually.
I saw it on there.
Yes. I gotta add links to your YouTube stuff to your page actually, but yeah, IPMNation.com. I built it in late 2006. And what it is, it's an extension of the original company that I started. IPM stands for Impact Player Music. I don't really use that name anymore, but I started that back in 2000 as a marketing company for musicians, independent and unsigned artists who need help, getting on the radio.
And this is maybe formed because you were in a band at the time, or you doing music at the time, or how did this concept come to you?
Well, I was, but part of it too stemmed from I had done a bunch of different internships in the music industry.
I see.
I interned for a concert promoter, for a publicist, at a radio station. What else? A couple others. A radio promoter. I did a bunch of different internships because I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could about the industry. But it's hard to get a full-time paying job in the music industry, especially with all the changes. And what would happen would be at the end of every internship, it was the same thing. It was like, Matt, we love you. You were great. We'd love to give you a job, but we don't have anything for you. And this would happen at the end of every semester. So great experience, learned a lot, but they wouldn't, unless I wanted to keep showing up for free, which I never minded doing. I mean, all my internships were unpaid, but the knowledge I gained from them was invaluable.
Knowledge about the music industry.
Yes, absolutely.
How to set up concerts or venues and
all kinds of stuff,
and sound and all of that.
All about how radio works and yeah. So cool. So finally I decided, it's like, well, if I can't get a job, I'll create a job. So I started, Impact Player Music was started to offer services. Basically everything I had learned how to do, I was now offering them on my own to just whoever wanted them, independent and unsigned artists. So that's how it started. IPM Nation started originally as a radio show that I, coincidentally, my co-host on the original IPM Nation show, his name was Matt Marcil. He has a business called Tweak Sound and Mastering in Concord. We'll give Matt a little plug. But coincidentally, he's also the first person I ever hypnotized.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, we're good friends. I was the best man at his wedding and whatnot. But he was the first one to say to me.
Matt.
Yeah, but he was the first one to ever say to me, hey, can you hypnotize me? So Matt's actually played an important role in my life, Matt Marcil.
And what does he do? He's got a studio?
Yeah, Tweak Sound and Mastering. He does audio engineering. He records, produces, masters. He's also a musician. He's a very, very talented guy. But he was also my co-host on the original show, and the original show was simply called IPM Nation. IPM because Impact Player Music was the name of the company, and Nation because I just wanted something that sounded big. Yeah. So I was like, Nation. So that's how it started, and then we started adding more shows to the site. Somebody wanted to do our show focused on music, but then somebody wanted to do a talk show. And I said, sure. So we added the talk show. Somebody had a comedy show they wanted us to carry. So we started carrying more programming. So that's how it became IPMNation.com. And that really took off and started getting popular. So then I phased out the Impact Player Music name. Legally on paper, that's still the name of the company. But the name we use now really is IPM Nation because that's the name that's out there and that's the name people know.
So musicians come to you to get playtime on radio?
Yeah, we have a radio promotion service. We mostly work with college stations. I love college radio, and the great thing about college radio is it's the closest thing you get to a level playing field with FM radio in terms of, unlike if you're a musician and you want to be played on an FM commercial station, you better have some money behind you. You better be on a major label.
Really, so you won't be able to get picked up at all.
Right, very difficult with commercial radio. You've really got to kind of already be in the pipeline and have that backing and support. It's very expensive. College radio, it does not work that way at all. College radio, if they like you, they'll play you. These stations are student run typically, or they'll have faculty who are involved on some level. It depends on the station. But they're basically student run, and if you send them music, you could be someone who no one's ever heard of. It might be the first thing you've ever recorded. Doesn't matter. If they like it, they'll play it. So it's a great way to break into radio. If you're just starting out and you don't have a major label with millions of dollars to put behind you. It's not a completely level playing field. If a music director at a college radio station, if they've got 2 packages sitting on their desk that they need to listen to, and one of them happens to be Elvis Costello, and I always use Elvis Costello as an example. He's kind of like, in my mind, like the king of college radio, because college radio stations all love Elvis Costello. So that music director or program director is probably going to play Elvis Costello first. When they're listening to the new music that's on their desk. But they will get to that other CD. This artist they've never heard of, that's going to be interesting to them too. And if they like it, they'll play it. So what our service does is if you're a musician and you come to us, we'll send your music out to college radio stations across the country, and we'll try to get you airplay. Radio campaign lasts 16 weeks. So over the course of that 16 weeks, we're in touch with each of those stations, and talking to those music directors and program directors and saying, did you listen to it? Did you like it? Is it in rotation? Is it in light rotation, heavy rotation? Can we schedule a phone interview with the band? Whatever we can do. And, and that maybe book a tour if a lot of stations are playing them, that can lead to other things. So, but that's our primary service, and I love it.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting and fun.
Yeah.
Getting people that don't have playtime really out into the playing field, as you say, and that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So do you send CDs out, or you send just audio files out?
We actually still send CDs.
You do.
This surprises people.
Yeah. But
radio stations still want CDs. Even in this digital age, and the reason is a CD. A radio station wants the best possible quality recording that they can have to play, and a CD is better quality than an MP3.
It is, okay.
There's probably a generation of kids coming up right now who doesn't even realize, who are oblivious to this, but you definitely lose some of the dynamics with an MP3. If you go backward, I mean, an MP3 sounds better than a CD. A CD sounds better than a cassette. I'm sorry. Well, no, actually, we'll leave cassettes out of it.
I was just thinking, as we go back, we get better sound.
But vinyl sounds better than a CD. Nothing sounds better than vinyl.
Really? Wow, like an LP, an old-fashioned, long-playing album.
Well, now you can get new releases on vinyl. Vinyl never went away.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Everything that comes out, every major new release now still comes out on vinyl.
Wow.
Limited edition vinyl. A lot of the people who buy vinyl never even open it and play it. They just buy it to collect it. But nothing sounds better than vinyl. But a CD sounds better than an MP3. So we'll send digital files to radio stations if that's what they want. But most stations, believe it or not, even college stations, they still want a CD.
I see.
Yeah.
It's got the best sound.
Yeah.
And plus, people can buy CDs a lot easier. Well, then I guess you can download MP3s.
Right. CDs still sell, though. People have been kind of prematurely predicting the death of CDs for a while now, but up until last October, I still worked for a retail chain that sold CDs, and teenagers. It's not just older folks. A lot of teenagers would come in and still buy CDs because they want the liner notes and everything, and the pictures and whatnot.
And it's good to feel it in your hands. Hold on to it.
Yeah, and they might not even necessarily listen to the CD itself, but they want the liner notes. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll buy the CD. Burn it onto the computer, and then just put the MP3s on their iPod or whatever. So not actually listen to the CD, but if someone's a huge fan of a particular artist, they'll still want the package, the liner notes, and everything. So
the old pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah,
all the new pictures, or whoever looking at your.
They will eventually die off, but I do believe that CDs will eventually go away. It's just taking a lot longer than anyone predicted.
Why do you think they'll go away?
I just think it's inevitable. I think there will...
Because of the structure of them?
I think there will come a point where that... For the same reason, I mean, I think books will eventually go away. Because now we have Kindle, we have Nook, and... Honestly, maybe not... I'm not saying anytime soon. Maybe not in our lifetimes. I think it's eventual. I think that the technology, it's all inevitable. But
if the technology keeps on boomeranging, slingshotting out in front of us like it is.
Yeah. But I think for these things to die off, it's going to take a long time. Books will outlive CDs. But CDs will eventually die off. Cassettes.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of time because everything changes.
Right. But sometimes people get a little. I think people like to, because people reflexively just like to feel like they're in the know, and they see what's coming.
On top of what's going on.
They will predict the death of things prematurely. Cassettes, audio cassettes, hung on longer than anyone thought. I mean, they eventually died off, but
I kind of miss them. I have a whole collection of audio cassettes. And they don't make cars with cassette players anymore.
Right. But that's the whole reason I think that cassettes hung on several years longer than the industry thought they would, is because they for so long they were still selling new cars with cassette players.
Oh, is that right?
I was wondering why. Yeah, up until I'm not sure what year.
Well, some cars had the CD player and a cassette player.
Right.
They kind of tried to keep everybody happy.
But I think because they still had that, I think the audio industry actually extended the life of the audio cassette. You can still buy blank tapes. They still make blank, because a lot of musicians still like to use a blank cassette.
Oh, then they still make the handheld cassette recorder.
Oh yeah.
Recordings, and the boom boxes come with
players. You can still get those. Yeah. So, but they don't make new cassettes anymore.
So, if you had any big people, or any of your people in IPM Nation, any of your artists hit it big or move into the FM?
Not really. Most of them have pretty much stayed within the college radio system. I mean, I'd like to say that we had something to do with Godsmack or somebody, but
maybe no. You did. Now, who's Godsmack?
Oh, Godsmack. Yeah,
I'm not into all of this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're from New Hampshire, so a lot of folks who aren't even into that kind of music know them. Sully. I just happened to hear the new Godsmack song on my way here. That's why I was thinking of Godsmack. But.
Oh, you mean it's they're actually on the national FM station?
Yeah, Godsmack's a big band, but they're originally from here.
Okay.
But we've worked with a lot of really small artists. What's unique about our services is I am, as far as I know, the only college radio service provider in the world who I will work with literally any budget, because I have no minimum number of stations. Because when you go to sign up for this service with a college radio promoter or any radio promoter, you have to buy a package.
I see.
So you spend a lot of money, end up spending a lot of money if you want to do a radio campaign of 100 stations or 200 stations or whatever.
Oh, I see. That's how it works. So you have like packages of so many radio stations that you'll send it out to.
Right.
And there's a cost.
Exactly. But what's unique about my service, there is no minimum. If you wanted to buy one station, just spend the money for one station, we'll do it.
Oh.
We'll take that. I know we can't talk about fees on MPTS, but we'll take that fee for that one station, and we'll send that CD to that station and try to get you airplay. I've never had anyone do that. I've had people buy 5 stations. They just want to test the waters with a few local college stations, but because we have no minimum budget, we're able to access or allow a large client base who don't have a lot of money to spend access to our service.
Wow, that's great.
And
that's really a great service that you're providing for these local musicians.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm the only one in the world that I know of who does it that way.
Wow. And this came out of the fact that you were apprenticed with so many music industry people. You learned the music industry, and now you have this ability to create your own product, I guess, your own company.
Yeah.
Now, does this do you earn a living doing this?
That, yeah, between IPM Nation and Hypnosis, yeah.
That's your mainstay.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well, it sounds like you're really good at both of those.
Thank you. I try.
So coming here and being on TV at MSTV, Manchester Public Television, is that's your fun thing. That's, like you said in the beginning, how you get a little bit of this stuff that's built up inside of you out.
Yeah. Although, to be honest with you, the way my mind works, I don't think of anything. There's nothing that I do that I think of as like a fun thing. In that, I mean, it is fun, but it's the way I'm wired. I think it's just a lot of entrepreneurs are like this. I think of it all as being both business and fun, and it's all kind of mushed together. Like even doing my show, Matt Connarton Unleashed, IPMNation.com is on the screen, at the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who sees my show, even if they couldn't care less about what I'm talking about or about me,
Mm-hmm.
and they just happen to stumble across it, they're going to see that website at the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they're curious and they'll go to the site. And if they happen to be a musician who needs services, maybe they'll buy a service from us.
Sure.
So you know what I mean? So I think of it as it's all together.
So this is not really fun, but it is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you do, and it's not like you don't enjoy doing it. This is just what you do.
Right. And I love all of it. But
you
it
love
all
all of it. Okay. That's a good way to put it.
it's kind of funny because there was a time when I would think of I thought I had dual careers. Like I have my hypnosis career, and I have my music industry / media, broadcasting, whatever career.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think of it that way anymore because the two intersect so much. Like the whole reason I got to be Norm's co-host on Norm and Friends was because I'm a hypnotist. And,
really?
and that's kind of how I met Norm.
I see.
You know,
wanted a hypnotist on a show, and you kind of co-hosted because you were...
Well, Norm was friends with Christy, who... I should mention, there's two places that I work out of doing hypnosis, the Healing Tree in Londonderry and Styling Souls in Concord. And Christy, who owns Styling Souls, she brought me to an event that Norm was putting on.
Okay.
This was like 8 years ago now, and that's how I met Norm.
I see.
And then Norm invited us to go on the show as guests, and then he ended up inviting me to be his co-host.
Wow.
But so those worlds collided there because that's how I ended up on TV. And a lot of my clients who see me to stop smoking are musicians I've met when they find out I'm a hypnotist, because most musicians are smokers.
Right, that's true.
It's
They're
just
up all night.
how it is, you know.
Doing music.
Yeah. And when I've booked, when I do stage hypnosis shows, I use some of the same promotional resources I use for music. So the two things are constantly intersecting. So I don't even think of it as separate things now. I think of it as all this one big, giant, weird
This is sort of who
business.
you are.
Yeah. My little multimedia empire that includes all this different weird stuff that you wouldn't think would fit together, but it does.
It does for you.
Yeah.
It does. That's great. That's
Thank
really
you.
great.
Thank
a little
you.
gong on that.
All right.
You never know what's going to fit your bill, fit your lifestyle, fit your personality, fit what you really want to do. And we all can do these things. That's one thing that I hope that this show can help people with, is see people like you that are successful making your own life, making your own business at what you love to do, the music industry. And these things fell into your lap somehow, just sort of because you were interested in them and they called to you.
Yeah.
And you were good with them. You wanted them to these things to be in your life.
Absolutely.
And then now this is what you do for a living. And especially with the economy the way it is, or has been since '08 and gradually coming back, it's really good for people, I think, to have role models like you to see, and me, I'm also self-employed, to see that we can find our passion in life and make a living from it, earn a living from it, and that's just who you are. That's what you do, and there's no hours. You make your own hours because you know what you have to do next. Right,
absolutely. So many people every day go to a job they hate or something, and I don't understand. That would depress me.
Right. Well, that's part of what depressed me for a lot of years, I guess.
I mean, we've all had to do things we don't want to do, and sometimes depending on circumstances, like if you're in college. Maybe you work a job when you're not in school that you hate to put yourself through school and whatnot, and of course, but that's different. You're doing what you got to do to get to where you're going. But some people, man, they settle into something that they really don't enjoy at all, and then spend at least 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week doing something they get no enjoyment from, and it's wow,
I know,
that just looks like an awful existence.
It is, and we're kind of trained to do that. From my perspective, our family of origin kind of has us in these pigeonholes, like we were talking about in the beginning. We kind of grew up with, you have to go to college, get a degree, do this, or get a job and pay for a house and have kids and blah, blah, this whole thing, this whole lifestyle that your family kind of pulls you into, or your however you grow up, but you have to do this whether you like it or not, and it's not that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
Right. I'm really fortunate. My family never did that to me. I never felt that kind of pressure.
Great.
For me, it was always, do what you do what pulls you, and we're proud of you no matter what. And,
you're one of the fortunate ones.
I am fortunate that way. Yeah. I had self-imposed limitations. That I had to
now tell me about that, because that's really the big piece of it, isn't it, for all of us, is the self-imposed deadlines or things you put on your own shoulders that you think you need to do, or that this is who you are, therefore,
Yeah.
and we create those.
I used to be very lazy. I was a lazy kid, and after high school, I kind of loafed around. I mean, I always had a job. I lived on my own and supported myself, but I didn't have any real direction. One of the reasons I work so hard now is I constantly feel like I'm making up for lost time, which is an unpleasant feeling in a sense, because no one likes to feel like, oh, I wasted all that time. But I use it for as a positive force in my life, because it's part of what drives me. But yeah, I was really lazy, and you know what? I had all the ambition in the world. I just didn't have the motivation or drive to back it up.
How many people out there were like that?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people like that.
I had all this potential. I don't know if this is literally true, but I heard someone comment once that potential is derived from a French word, which translated literally means currently not worth a damn. Because what's the point of potential if you don't do anything with it? A pivotal moment in my life, I was living with this girl. Her name was Karen. That's her real name. I don't care, whatever. We were living together. The relationship was beginning to go south. But I was, for whatever reason, I was so unhappy with myself and where I was in my life. I remember telling her, you know, I think I'm going to go back to school. I think I really need to go to college. My plan was to take a year off, and then it ended up being several years because I was just lazy. I need to go to college, and I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm thinking about doing this because I really want to make something of myself. And she said to me, this moment changed my life. She said to me, Matt, see, you probably think I'm going to tell you she said something really encouraging, right? She didn't. She said something to the effect of, Matt, some people in life are made to really go out there and do great things with their lives, and some people are meant to just kind of be happy with what they have and just try to get through it. And that's who you are. Just be happy, and you know. I was devastated by that comment. That comment hurt me. That was probably the single most hurtful thing anyone ever said to me. But I'm glad she said it. That moment changed my life.
Yeah.
First, I was extremely hurt. I went off by myself and sulked. Then I got really angry, and that anger turned to resolve.
Really?
And then it very rapidly, everything started changing.
You needed to hear that from her. That was she needed to be in your life, and you needed to hear. And like you said, some people that wouldn't change, but for you, your personality, that was like a slap in the face, or a kick in the butt, or something.
Changed my life.
Changed your life.
It was like, I'll show you. I'll show you who's should just be happy with who they are. Screw that. I hadn't dealt with the depression yet, so I still had that to overcome. But I did get motivated. I found my motivation. I found my initiative and my drive. So that was the beginning of things really starting to change. Things really changed once I dealt with the depression part. But her saying that to me,
that got you looking to resolve things.
Oh yeah. It was devastatingly hurtful, but I'm glad she said it.
Now, did she say it in a hurtful way?
Yes.
Oh, she did.
Because the relationship wasn't going well, and she was clearly losing interest. And
I see.
She said it to be mean. She said it to hurt me.
I see. And it not only hurt you, but it turned you around. So it was a good thing.
Yes.
So sometimes these people come into our lives for a good reason.
Yeah.
To improve our lives, and even though in the moment it was devastating.
Yeah,
really
pivotal moment. I've never...
Pivotal.
After she moved out, eventually she moved out. I haven't seen her since, haven't talked to her. But, you know, I'll tell her someday if I run into her somewhere. I'll tell her, thanks for being so nasty, because it actually worked out okay.
That's great. It's sort of like my story with my coworkers did something that I thought they did to me, but in later... After I was in therapy for a while with it, and it changed my life. I would still be an accountant otherwise. And
no kidding.
Thank goodness, because I was going to work, coming home, going to be in the rabbit, chip, what do you call it? The thing in the cage,
hamster
the hamster
on a wheel.
wheel.
Yeah.
And this thing that happened, it was very hurtful. It devastated me, and thank God.
Yeah.
Because we sometimes need this kind of a kick in the pants to say, well, who am I, what am I doing, and where am I going? And this isn't what I want to be doing. This doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it hurts in the moment because you don't realize necessarily when you're hurting that there's going to be good coming out of this.
Right. You're kind of
But,
in a hard place going through it, but it has helped me now when I do go through hard times to realize that there's going to be a silver lining somewhere, or it's going to come out and the sun's going to come out again.
Right.
That is a big piece of helping me get through things now.
Yeah. Good.
Hopefully for other people and for you too.
Yeah.
So life is good right now.
Yeah.
And so there's another piece of you haven't divulged. I don't know if you wanted to talk about your internet selling thing that you do, or.
Oh yeah, well we do some online retail.
Yeah.
If you go to ipmnation.com/store.
Oh, okay.
You can.
That's in the store section.
Yeah, and we appreciate anyone who if you need to buy something on Amazon, you can actually do it through our page.
Oh, really?
You can access the entire Amazon inventory, and if you do that, it helps us at IPM Nation, so we can keep because I want to continue to keep all of our programming free. A lot of sites that offer podcasting and whatnot, they want you to pay a subscription. Like a typical business model is they'll have a lot of free programming, but then they also have some premium programming that they want you to pay for.
Right.
We've never done that at IPM. All our programming is free, and
Wow.
I'd like to keep it that way. And people making purchases online through if they're buying from Amazon, if they go through IPM Nation and our Amazon link,
I see.
that helps. It helps pay for everything and helps us keep all our programming free. So.
Oh, okay, so does that mean you're an affiliate?
Yes.
With Amazon?
Yep.
I see.
We have our own inventory that we upload as well, but you can access any of the Amazon inventory through our affiliate site.
Okay.
And and it helps us, and you don't have to pay anything extra if you buy it through us. It's the same price. It's just we get a little piece of the profit. So
Right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So they're helping out the little guy on that level, the people who are affiliates. So I've always wondered how they have so many booksellers on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
It comes from all over the country when you buy a book.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how it works. Is they're affiliates of Amazon.
Exactly. Yeah. Amazon's quite the juggernaut.
It is now. I wonder, is that now a publicly traded company, or is it
Amazon?
privately owned?
I don't know if they're publicly traded. They probably are. Just because they're so huge.
Yeah,
But that's a good question.
Like Google. I know when Google became public, everybody couldn't wait to get on the bandwagon to buy their.
Right.
I think it was like $100 a shares or two. I don't know. It was amazing.
It was
price.
a lot of money. Yeah.
Share.
Yeah. Amazon's probably publicly traded. I mean, Jeff Bezos is known for being pretty greedy, so it's probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, you are political, aren't you?
I am. Yeah.
It says it like it is. How you feel it, how you think it. There it is.
Exactly.
So we're almost running out of time here. We have another minute or so left. So do you have anything coming up? I know the Healing Tree Wellness Spa. You're still working out of there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then the one down in Concord is a beauty shower salon.
Yep.
Hair salon.
Yes. Yep. They also offer massage therapy.
Okay.
And Reiki. Christy LaValle, the owner, she's a Reiki practitioner, and she does massage, and she's a great hairstylist as well.
Okay.
So I should give out my phone number if anyone wants to book a session.
Right.
You can call me at 603-344-6491. And if you want to book a session with me at Styling Souls, you can also go to stylingsouls.com, and you can book a session right online.
Okay, so you do hypnosis out of there.
Yeah.
Great.
If you want to book with me at the Healing Tree in Londonderry, just call me directly.
Right, and I have a link when guests are on my show, I put your contact information on my website under my TV show. So
Excellent.
If you can't get through to Matt the way you just said with your, however that is, you can check out my website, and I will have a link, not today, but maybe actually I already have you on there for today.
Oh, good. Okay.
So yeah, you can do that. And so I think we're coming down to the wire. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah,
this
Jane.
was so informative, Matt.
Thank you so much for having me. This
You're
has been
welcome.
a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. And I just wanted to also, I have a couple things coming up, some drum building workshops. You can go on my website and check that out. And I do a mindful movement program on Monday and Thursday mornings up in New London. If anyone's in that area, we can do some, it's an esoteric kind of a mix or eclectic mix of yoga and Tai Chi and some other things. So that's fun.
Very cool.
So if you're interested in making a drum or anything like that, or healing, I also do my energy healing. So thanks for joining us today. And have a great day. Thanks to manchestertv.org for this lovely space. And thanks again to Matt Connarton.
Jane, thank you.
Yeah, and so remember, your heart knows the way.